And welcome to another episode of 50 Shades and Grey. Thank you once again for joining us. So it's that time of year again, guys. We are going to start looking at Christmas dating and whether or not Christmas is a good time to find a relationship. Now, it's around about this time of year when all our favourite rom-coms come on, Love Actually, and a whole host of other rom-coms that are all about Christmas, all about love, and all around people finding that special one. And there's always that hope that, you'll go out and you'll meet the person that you've wanted to meet for ages, and then that will be the one for you. It will come together somehow on a glorious Christmas day when the snow is falling and all the kids are running around. But is the reality actually like that? So, why do we think Christmas is a good time of year to meet someone? Well, like I've just said, we're surrounded by the idea of love at Christmas. Christmas is about love, it's about forgiveness, it's about giving, it's about receiving. And all of those things come together with family and sharing of joy. And everyone is generally in a good mood. And then when everyone's in a good mood, it makes them think good things. And then they get the idea that, this is a great time for love. After all, the premise of Christmas is all around love and giving. So why wouldn't it be a great time to meet someone? Now, the other thing that happens at Christmas is it's opportunity. There arises far more opportunities to maybe go out and meet people because you have get-togethers with friends that you haven't seen for a long time. You have the infamous office party, if you're in an office, or the night out with the girls, or the mums, or the guys, or whatever it may be. That all these nights that are coming up where people are like, I'm going out this time of year. It's an excuse to go out. And when you go out, lots of other people are out as well. It's not a hit and miss night. If you're going to go out for Christmas, places are going to get busy because it's that time of year where people just go nuts and all want to go out. And then when they're out, they're sort of leaving their inhibitions behind. They have a few drinks. They're thinking about great things and they become open to meeting people. So Christmas is a good time to meet people. And there's lots of opportunities to do that when you go out. And obviously around Christmas there's the build up to Christmas, then there's Christmas Eve when, lots of people go out, and then there's Christmas Day when you might go down to the local pub in at lunchtime. And then there's the in between a bit Christmas before the big build up to one of the, I think probably for me, one of those occasions where if you're going to be with someone, that's a really nice time of year to be with someone is New Year's. Because when that New Year's bell drops and it's the countdown, you want to be going to say Happy New Year to the person that you love, the first person that you kiss. Now, for me, I spent a long time single, so I was quite happy going to New Year's on my own and mostly with Zach, and he'd be the person I'd give a hug to because he was the most important person to me. So that would always be my New Year's. And I'll come to the other side of Christmas dating later on in the podcast. But that's a really nice time to be with someone that you love at New Year's. So I think we're all focusing on that, and maybe we all get lost in a little bit of a fairy tale because we're all romantics at heart, I think. We like that idea of being with someone at Christmas, being with someone at New Year, and having that whole fairy tale Christmas. If you're also looking on the dating apps, everyone has this idea in mind. So the dating apps at Christmas become very busy. People will go on them at Christmas and think, maybe this is my time of year to meet someone. I'm going on the dating app. And I also think this time of year, because the evenings are it seems like it's dark at 4:15 now. Well, it is dark at 4:15 now. So by 4:15, it seems like evening. It's cold, it's wet, it's miserable. You get home, and before you know it, it's 5 o'clock, and you've already showered, changed your bed, and you're sitting by the fire or the heating in front of the TV. your hand starts to go to the phone, and you end up thinking, "I'll go on the apps. I'll have a look at the apps because it's that time of year." I think in summer, because there's a lot going on in summer and you can be out in the garden, you can still be doing jobs around the house and all the rest of it. You don't feel like it's evening till sort of 8:30 when it starts to get dark. So, but winter brings dark around a lot sooner. So those evenings are longer, aren't they? So there's more time to feel. So people go on a lot of the apps at Christmas. So they become very busy. So going on the apps, if you're on the apps all the time, it's, like, great for you guys because there's all of a sudden there's a load of fresh meat out there, and a lot of them have got no experience of apps. So you could take full advantage of those people. So it's a fight for all the newbies that go on there. Maybe for some others, it's a chance just to been on there and have been around the block a few times on the apps, just think, "Do you know what? It's Christmas. I'll have another go." So the apps get really busy. So that's always a good time as well to go on there. And it's a really nice time to meet new people because there's probably a lot of people that are going out that you maybe don't normally go out. So if you're one of those people that will go to the same haunts all the time and getting used to seeing the same faces, you may actually see a lot of people that you may not normally see out. And they may be people that have thought to themselves, "Do you know what? It's Christmas. I'm going to go out." And maybe they're the sort of people that are great to meet because they're new people that, maybe have just come out of divorces or breakups in relationships and plucked up the courage to go out. And they're open to meeting people as well. And like we said many times, guys, it's about being open, about being ready. And I think Christmas pushes people a little bit into feeling open in a nice way. So I think that's the really good part of Christmas, that there is opportunity. It does provide opportunity, and everyone is full of love and maybe open to more things than they would normally be because they're out. They have a few drinks because it's Christmas, have a drink. So it's a really nice time of year to meet someone. However, tread carefully because Christmas is also a time of year where you may be meeting people that aren't ready to meet people. They've just come out of relationships and then all of a sudden they think, "It's Christmas, I'm going out." And they're throwing themselves into anything that comes along. And you may be the right person at completely the wrong time for them. So it could be a complete disaster going out at Christmas. The office party, yes, it can be a great place to go because you can meet people in the building that maybe you've never met before. Remember, guys, you've got to go back to work in January. So if you're meeting people that you're thinking, "I'm not going to see them again in this building," you probably will, because sod's law, you will meet them again. And maybe that'll be a good thing, and maybe it won't be a good thing. And if it's not a good thing, you can guarantee that everyone else in the office has already heard about it or already seen it on CTV cameras or wherever it may be. So that may not be the best choice. Now, with meeting people at Christmas, you then start thinking about, maybe this could go well. So let's look positive. Let's be positive about this. Let's go. You've met someone and it's going well. So, how long do Christmas relationships last? My experience of relationships in general, and especially around Christmas when I have met people previously when I was single, you're usually looking about 3 months. It's usually the 3-month mark where that's a sign where it's either gonna end or it's gonna go forward maybe to the next milestone, which is usually around about 6 months. So why is that? Why is that sort of first 3-month stage really important to get to or to get past? Well, I've done some little calculations here. So when you first meet people, however it may be, apps, organically, whichever way it may be, first of all, it's going to be, the first week is when you meet out or you meet on your first date, let's say, and then you arrange to meet again. Now, it's difficult finding time for people. I completely agree. People will always find time for people they want to find time for. So if they're not texting you back or they're not calling you back, there's a reason. They've got better things to do, or you're low on their list of priorities. So don't waste your time with it. However, even if someone is replying back, it's probably to start with, you're going to be lucky to see each other maybe once a week. Because if you're in work and you've got other things going on and you're going to not want to drop your whole life for this new person, so you're going to be fitting them in where you can. And it may be that you only got one or two gaps, and that gap's got to meet up and match up with their gap. So to start with, you might only see each other once a week. So let's go on a premise of once a week, because it could be more, it could be twice a week, but it could be less because yeah, at midlife, lots of people have got kids. So if they've got kids, it makes it far more difficult for them to get out, especially at weekends when most people's free time is, because midweek can be difficult with work and everything else going on. But at the weekends, that's when a lot of your time is. And maybe you have your kids every weekend. Maybe you have your kids every other weekend, whichever it may be, depending a lot of the time whether you're male or female. So let's go on the premise of once a week. Over the space of 3 months, you're going to be looking, probably seeing someone 16 times, maybe 16 to 20 times. 16 times sounds a lot to me as well, but we're going to go with like 16 times. Let's say once a week, 16 times. So within the first two or three of those 16 times, you're going to go, keep it probably simple. You're going to go out for dinner, maybe drinks, spend a bit of time with each other, maybe go back to each other's house. Who knows? But let's look conservatively at two or three times. So after the first two or three times, maybe from the fourth time, whatever it may be, there might start being more intimacy in a relationship. Now, that's a really great fun time because you're both finding out about each other. It may be a long time since you've had intimacy with someone, so you're enjoying that. You're discovering new things with people because everyone's different in the way that they are. So, that could be a really nice, fun time as well. So, that's going to take us maybe up to, we're going to look at going from the eighth time. So, around about the eighth time. So, by now we're looking at maybe just over a month and a half into meeting someone, and that's when you're going to start to probably start getting to know, scratching the surface a little bit more of that person, because all of those good habits that we all present to start with, and on our front foot forward and on our best self, we slowly start to sort of come back to the person that maybe we are a little bit more, because, we're a little bit more comfortable now in this relationship and we can start being more of ourselves. Around about that mark, you start to sort of find out a little bit more about each other. Now, that can start to spring up a few sort of signposts. We go, oh, not sure if I like that. Or there may be things that in the relationship at the beginning of it, you thought, I like that. That's really cute. About a month and a half in, that same thing can be driving you around the bend, and you've got to grit your teeth and think, oh, I'm not going to be able to put up with that. That's driving me nuts. So there's all these little things. And don't forget, this is happening both ways. So as much as we all think, we're the goody in the story, sometimes, we can have the things that drive people nuts. This is working both ways. So, and both people have got to be on the same page about, no, I haven't found anything about this person. So by this time, we're starting to get to each other, know a little bit more, and we're starting to go, oh, I don't like that, but there's a load of other things that I do like. So, we'll persevere with this, and, I can oversee that. I don't mind. And you then find out that, they said they didn't smoke at the start, and then they might vape, and that might bother you. And I'm talking about me, but then it may be the equivalent for you of things that, where I go to the gym all the time, and then, you have to think, well, I don't go to the gym all the time. I just said that at the beginning, and they could be gym obsessed, and you're thinking, I don't want to go to the gym all the time and, eat chicken every day of my life because it's full of protein. So then we start to get to, around about the 12 date mark, the 12th time in, and now it could be around about 2 months and you've seen them 12 times. And now you start looking forwards, because That's what we need to do. You know, like I said before, when we're not in our 20s, when we've got an abundance of time, we now start looking at, okay, so where is this going? Where is it going for them? Where is it going for me? For you, you could be full steam ahead by this time, head over heels in love and thinking, yeah, I want everything. And they might be on a different page to you. They might be thinking, well, I'm quite happy where we are. You know, I don't really want any more of this. I quite like, the intimacy with you. I like seeing you once a week, but I've kind of got my life and that's great. Now, we've said before, if you meet someone else that's like that, that could be a great match because that could be a way relationships are moving forward where it's like, I've got my life, you've got your life. Let's have a life in the middle where we meet up, and then the rest of the time we can be independent. Some people don't want that. Some people are like, no, I want to be with someone. I want to be fully invested in someone. I want our lives to be, blended together, our families blended together, that everyone's getting on. And that's a great thing if that's what you want. But you've got to find that person too. And so let's say, for argument's sake, both of you are that way. And then you've got to decide at this point, okay, all right, so how's this going to work? And then around about 14 dates, maybe. Listen, this could all be happening way before this, but I'm going on my personal experience and experience from speaking to lots and lots of other people as well about this. So around about that time, 2 months, 14 dates, whatever it may be, you then start looking into meeting each other's friends and family and kids. Now, that's a big difference as well, because when you meet people's kids, we all bring up our own kids in different ways, and we all have acceptance of things and we let things go with our own kids that we may not let things go with other people's kids. you know, Entering into kids' lives can cause problems as well because they don't want you, completely understandably, taking the place of their mum, dad. Listen, guys, for me, kids have one mum, one dad. That's it. Their biological parents or their parents that bring them up or have fostered them, they're their parents. There's no substitutes for that. Anyone else that comes into their life, they can be friends, brilliant. They can be role models, fantastic. But they're not the mum, they're not the dad for me. And that's just me. They are just other people in their life, albeit partners of their own mums or their own dads. So you've then got to negotiate all of these new things around this stage. And this is a really tricky stage because then you think, they might have young kids and you think, oh, I'm not ready for young kids. I don't want young kids. Or they might have old kids that are sort of standing up to you going, well, listen, you're not doing that to my dad or you're not doing that to my mum. Or they could have the daughter from hell that is going to sort of question you. And you might be thinking, I don't need this in my life. So it all starts to get complicated at this stage as well. So this is around the 14 mark. And then if you get through all of that, you know, you then start to get from the 3 month mark of where you start thinking, okay, so where is this going now? Do we see each other in each other's life? Are we on the same page? Are we going to try and go forward with everything together? And then from that mark, that 3 month mark, and also bear in mind, roundabout if you're meeting people at Christmas. So you have Christmas and people think great time to be with people, Christmas Day, buy presents, might even go around there for Christmas dinner if I can get a like cheeky invite. And then it's Boxing Day, great day. And then you go to New Year's and that's great. And then you come out and you think, oh, January's like a dark, dull month, isn't it? No one likes January. I feel sorry for January in terms of months because January gets a bad deal. All the other months have got the same game for them, but January, I feel sorry for January. But anyway, you get through to January thinking, oh, January's crap. So I'm quite happy to sit in with someone and watch a bit of telly, eat chocolate, and do all those things in January just to get through January because it's hellish. And then we start to get to February as well, and we're in the second month now anyway. And what's in February? Valentine's. Everyone loves being with someone at Valentine's Day, don't they? Booking a night out for Valentine's because you're not on your own at Valentine's because that's another time of the year where people that are single, they're thinking to themselves, oh, it's a bad time of year to be single because it's like love everywhere. Everywhere you go, there's love hearts and Cupid and all of this, and it drives you nuts. So, you know, They get through that, and then they start to get to March, and like I said, this is the 3-month mark. Now, if they're getting to the 3-month mark and you're in that 16 date stage where you're now looking forward, the other person has now got through those periods of December, January, March, and they're thinking, "Summer's around the corner. Summer's a great time to be single," because summer, everyone goes out in summer, everyone's wearing less clothes, everyone's a little bit freer, the sun's out, everyone's happy. Great time to meet people in the summer. All your friends are going out, days are longer. So they're now looking at that time of where they're thinking, oh, some holidays away with the girls, some holidays away with the boys. Now, I know these don't have to be, you don't stop doing all of this when you're with people, but for some people, they have a lot more fun going away when they're single with the girls and they or the boys than they do when they're with someone with the girls and the boys. So they're also looking forward at this stage. So they're thinking all these things about where is this going? I'm in March now. Do I want to be with someone going through March, April, May, heading towards the summer? So all these questions start happening. Now, at this stage, they make the decision, or people make the decision that they're either going to go, do you know what? This has been great fun, but it's not for me. Hopefully they do that. Sometimes people just, this is where they did ghost and just go missing, and or they come up with these, random excuses that people come up with, that an ex has come back into their life, or, I need to concentrate on me now. And you think, was you not concentrating on you like for the last 3 months? Or this has got a little bit serious. I wasn't ready for this. So you can hear all sorts of excuses. Like we've said before, the bottom line is they don't want to be there. Let them go. They're done. They're no good for you. No hard feelings. You both move on. If you decide to go on from the 3-month mark, then you get all this again at 6 months because it becomes more serious and you've got to make more decisions. So that's where we are. Now, this is all out of Christmas. I know how we got there. But you've also got to think about the other things. Now, as much as round about Christmas is great being with someone, and like I said, New Year's, it's great with being with someone. But if, like me, you've been with people at Christmas and especially New Year's that you don't want to be with, it's the worst thing. It's worse than being on your own at Christmas and New Year's, because they're the people where it really hits home. And I was told that a lot of people at Christmas realize, I don't want to be with this person anymore. And this is long relationships. I spoke to lots of people, and a lot of them have said, when it dawned on them most, when they didn't want to be with the person they're with, it was Christmas. It came around where they looked at and they just thought, I don't want to be with this person anymore. And then they ended up splitting up in March. Again, that 3-month thing. So, Christmas can also be a time when people make decisions about their futures, because of all the love, because of all the joy, they realize, I haven't got this. Why haven't I got this? Why am I not feeling this anymore when, everyone else is, and everyone's got these new chances and new beginnings? Why am I not feeling this? And then so lots of people at Christmas make decisions about their futures that may not involve the other person that they're with as well. So Christmas is a real prominent time. Yes, great to meet people. Yes, great to start new relationships because of opportunity. But also, a lot of people at Christmas realize a lot of things about where they're at and where they are, and just reflect on things. And for some people, it's like, I'd rather be on my own at Christmas and just enjoy Christmas, or just enjoy New Year. I want to be the person that can just get as drunk as I want, and when it comes to sort of Happy New Year, I don't have to kiss anyone because I don't need to worry about it. So Christmas, great time of year to meet people. Also a time of year where you can make decisions about your life and your future moving forwards, and also a great time to be on your own. So enjoy the forthcoming month, guys. Remember, if you're meeting people, tread carefully. But if you're meeting people, good for you. Remember about the 3-month mark, and, take into account all those things. Once again, thank you for joining 50 Shades and Greys. Make sure you subscribe and you support, because that helps the podcast. And just do that by following and liking, sharing the videos. It gets us views and it gets us known. But Appreciate your time. Have a good day, guys. Have a good week. See you next week. Bye bye.